Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to another episode of Life with Shenita. I am always honored that you have taken the time to join us for each week's episode. This month is extra special to me because I am a woman, and I have chosen to highlight women this month. And this week's focus is on women and faith. As a believer myself, I know that I would not be here in this place in my life without the faith that I have that continues to grow each day on my journey. And so these five amazing women are walking a journey of faith, and they will inspire you as they share snippets of their journey with you. Before we begin, of course, this is Women's International Month. This show is going to be dedicated to my brother David, who passed on Sunday. And he would want me to continue this journey. And so here I am before you all, proudly sharing another episode on his behalf. And so as I share just a snippet about women of faith, um, living as a woman of faith requires us to be all in, fully convinced that God is who he says he is, has done what he said he would do, and will continue to be faithful to his words. Ruth the Moabite was an example of unwavering faith, bravery in the Bible. After being widowed early in life, she stuck with her mother-in-law and followed God for all of her days, believing he would provide for her. That's my journey as a widow. Mary Magdalene is an, often misunderstood biblical figure, but she was certainly a faithful follower of Jesus. And so when I think of women of faith, I think of women who trust God. I think of women who are confident, and I think of women who are fearless. And the five women that we will speak to this evening exemplify all that and more. And so if you would join me in liking and sharing this broadcast, in addition to join me in welcoming these amazing women, I will be honored. So I will introduce them to you, and they will introduce themselves to you. First, we have Miss Tamika Adams. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are
How
you?
are you? Wonderful. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Thank you so much for asking.
Wonderful. And we are going to invite the other ladies in, and then I'm going to allow you all to introduce yourselves. So I'm so glad to have you tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have Miss Melanie Williams.
Hi, how are you, Miss Shenita?
Wonderful. How are you, Melanie?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad you said yes. Next up, we have Dr. Sarah Williams. Good evening, Dr. Sarah.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with everyone.
Thank you so much for saying yes. Next up, we have Miss Paula Myrick. Good evening.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Good to see you tonight, Shenita.
Yes, thank you so much for saying yes. And last but certainly not least, we have Miss Malika Williams. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Thank you for saying yes. So with that being said, we'll start off again with Miss Adams. Would you please do us the privilege and the honor of introducing yourself to the audience?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I'm Miss Tamika Adams, the proud founder of the Empress and Pearls Mentored Organization, located here in the beautiful Mecca of Atlanta, Georgia. I am also the proud co-founder of Four Corners Cleaning Solutions, which is located again in the Mecca, Atlanta, Georgia, where we provide professional residential and commercial cleaning needs. I'm happy to be here, honored to be in the presence of all these ladies, and just give praise to God for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. We're glad to have you. Miss Melanie Williams.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. What else do you say, Miss Shenita?
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening.
It is truly an honor to be here. I am Melanie Williams, and my biggest title that I'm proud of here in this forum is being a friend and sister of Shenita. But when I'm not with her, doing her great exploits, I am the founder of Apparent Miracles. It's a nonprofit organization designed to help single working parents, one miracle at a time. I'm also an attorney by profession and a house wife. And when I'm teleworking the last year, how about that? And mother of three and child of God.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Sarah Williams.
Hello, everyone. I am, like she said, Dr. Sarah Williams. I'm a licensed psychotherapist. I live in Chesapeake, Virginia. I am the owner of Covenant Way Clinical Counseling, and I also own a Covenant Way Wellness, which is a subsidiary, and that is my holistic practice that also accompanies my clinical practice. I'm the proud mom of 15-year-old twins. They are the light of my life. And of course, they have been keeping me quite busy because they have all these aspirations, even in the midst of COVID. You know, God is still in the blessing business and keeping us very busy in terms of that. So again, that's me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. We're so happy to have you. Next, Miss Paula Myrick.
Hello, everyone. My name is Paula Myrick. I am the founder of Refresher Community, Inc., and we are a nonprofit that specifically focuses on single moms and women who need a moment of refreshing. We create navigational resources for them within the community, and we are located in Stockbridge, Georgia, which is the home office of our community, but we are serving all of the community in Metro Atlanta. My profession is I work with the Supreme Court of Georgia as a grant administrator, and I get the opportunity to serve the courts and the judges. I love my community. I love working with Shenita. Shenita is a great friend of Refresher Community, and I am honored to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, Miss Malika Williams.
Thank you, Shanita. There's a little bit of delay problems, but if you said me, did you say me, Miss Shanita?
Yes, yes. It's on you, Malika.
Okay. I am Malika Williams, and I am proud founder of Excuse Me, Please Get, which is an etiquette consulting firm that consults young children as well as adults on the art of etiquette. I also am the founder of Tissues to Triumph, which is a organization to support widows, young widows especially. And we do day parties to let them know that you can have life after loss. Being a widow myself, that became a passion of mine to create that organization where you can give back to ladies who have lost their spouses. So those are the two things that keep me busy. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee. We have a lot and we're growing excited about it. And then outside of those two companies, I am employed with the Nashville Fire Department under the Human Resources umbrella. I am honored and humbled to be here tonight. So thank you for the invitation.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, if you, the audience, have not gathered how amazing these women are, I don't know what else to say. So as we continue our conversation with them, These women of faith, I would love for you to like and share this post. Like and share this post. So, ladies, let's start the conversation. So, we know that tonight's focus is on faith. So, tell the audience how your faith has contributed to your journey personally and professionally. And I'd like to start with you, Miss Melanie Williams, since we have three Williams here tonight.
I know we've been having a family reunion of sorts,
Yes.
getting the Williams, and you never know, we might see each other at the next one. So, but yeah, to answer the question, first from a personal perspective, my faith, if I am the vehicle or the clay in God's eyes, then that vehicle, that faith is the fuel for my journey that keeps me going. It is the foundation by which everything I do grows and breathes and thrives. And so my faith, thanks to my mom, introduced me to that faith, and it's just been part of my DNA. No, I was not born in olive oil. Yes, I've made tons of mistakes, but it is in failing forward that I learned to keep going and keep moving in my faith. The same is true professionally. My faith has helped me to keep going even despite professional mistakes. And it allows me to stay optimistic because I know that no matter what, trials make you strong. And so when God is in charge of your situation, and as my pastor Craig Oliver says, he's supervising your suffering, whether it be professionally or personally, then you know that you're going to come out on to the good, as we say in the South. And that keeps me going, and it allows me to keep moving to the next point where I can be successful. And that helps me a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you. And next, Miss Paula Myrick.
Hi. Listen, I am so excited about being here because my faith has actually made my life have meaning. Without my faith, I don't know that I would be able to explore the opportunities that I've been given. My faith has shaped who I am and what I want to do. The fact that God loves me um, is the greatest idea that I had that shaped who I am. And so, because God loves me, it allows me to communicate that to the people that I serve, that God loves them. So, my faith has literally made me whole and made me realize all the things that God can do in the life of someone who trusts Him. So, it has opened my whole world, my faith.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next, Miss Malika Williams.
So faith for me is really I say he's my driver. I just kind of get in the car and let him drive and lead me. But I've been a straight pick back up and keep going. I can't say that I always was that strong until I had the loss, and have just seen God in a whole different way. So I call him my comeback king, because he constantly, anytime life hits me with something, he constantly picks me back up, gives me that direction, gives me that push on the back to continue on. My faith has literally just kind of driven me and provided tremendous direction throughout life.
Awesome. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, Dr. Sarah Williams. I'm sorry. There we go.
I live by the motto that broken things become blessed things if you allow God to do the mending. And I look at my life, and in my brokenness, there have been so many miracles that others can witness and increase their faith. Through my pain and my grief, losing my mother, losing my spouse, almost losing my mind, it allowed me to gravitate away from the comfortable life of complacency and living in the shadow. And I entitled my TV show Dr. Sarah After Dark because it was in my darkness that I didn't realize I was in darkness, but I was. And then after I lost my husband, and I went through that grief and that depression, I emerged in a way that I'm stronger in my faith, and I'm also an advocate and a supporter. I would have never gone and done postdoctoral work and became a therapist. I was a professor. I was good. And then I'm a professor turned therapist. I opened my practice, and I'm helping so many other people as a result of my pain. So again, if you allow God to do the mending, those broken things become blessed things.
Amen. Amen. I couldn't agree with you more on that note. Um, the next question, as we continue this conversation, besides your faith, what else has sustained you and your sanity specifically during this pandemic? We're um, at a year into this pandemic. So, besides your faith, can you share with the audience what else has sustained you? Give some practical examples to the audience on some things that have helped you on this journey. I'll start with you, Tamika.
Sure. So for me, to be very practical, and
Sorry, I
just
missed the question.
I would have to say this experience recently, in 2020, March of 2020, I lost my father. And for many, I see that we all have, so many of us have, been through that, whether it's a spouse or a parent or, someone, one of our loved ones. And to stand here today, or to sit here today and know that 1 year ago, this very month, that my father is no longer with me, but I'm still, like Shenita said earlier, pushing through. Just pushing forward, because I know my father would want that. And in doing that, I made a vow to him. I said, Dad, you're only 65 years old. And if God wants you to be home with him, and you give me this at least another year to do what it is that I've always wanted to do, I promise you I was delivered at my best. And I believe in my heart that my father is like really proud of everything that I have done in 1 year. I launched an amazing mentoring program for Black girls. And when I tell you the things that God has done in that mentoring program, it's not me. It is all of him. So, for me to, sit here today and think about and reflect a year ago, being in that hospital room with my dad and just asking God, whatever your will is, let it be done. I'm good. I'm at peace with whatever the decision is, but allow me 1 year to make my father proud, because he only had 65 years and he had still a lot of work to do. So for the next 65 years, I am going to live through my father and continue to be the best that I can be. And so for my community, for Shenita, I mean, everyone, I would say that is what has kept me and pushing me through these trying times, especially during this pandemic. But my mentoring organization, my girls, I love them. And I couldn't be any more proud.
Yes. And Madison is part of that program, and I'm so excited.
Her.
Oh my goodness. It takes a village. Thank you for being a part of the village.
You're welcome.
Next, Dr. Sarah, what has, besides your faith, what has sustained you, especially during this pandemic? What else other than your faith?
I think just a belief system that hope and things will get better, and utilizing this as a learning experience. I'm learning about myself. I'm learning about others. I'm learning so many valuable lessons about life. I am 52 years young, and I thought I was at that point that I knew. And this year has taught me so many things. I'm learning lessons from my children and about life and resiliency and character. And all of that is because of the pandemic. So even if I was a non believer, They're just fundamental experiences from this that are increasing my ability to handle stress, to handle obstacles, to handle the unknown. And those are all lessons that are resonating with me. And I feel more fulfilled at this point than I have felt in my life. And that's honest.
Yes, I can relate. I can relate. And who would have thought a pandemic would have caused us to be in this place of fulfillment, self fulfillment, and purpose driven life? So I'm grateful too. So thank you for sharing that. Malika, other than your faith, what has sustained you and your sanity, especially during this time? Malika? We'll come back to.
I'm sorry, delay. So, okay, my celebration team, and that's pretty much my family, has been my rock during. Do you want me to continue, or do you want to come back?
Yes, continue.
Okay, so as I was saying, my family, which I call my celebration team, and that includes friends, has been my rock during the pandemic, along with my faith, as we said. But then also, I had to kind of change perspective. I started looking at it as an unexpected gift of time that God had given us, because a lot of us get so busy ripping and running, we really don't have the time to spend with our family, friends, and really just get inside each other's heads, see where they are emotionally, mentally, even physically, spiritually. So I changed my perspective. And as I began to look at it, as I said, an unexpected gift of time from God, it kind of changed everything from birth out of, I'm sure, for a lot of these other amazing ladies. And so I think it.
Oh man, she was
We'll
blessing.
Yes, that was great.
She's
Paula?
a
Yes, Paula, will you share with us?
Well, there are a few things that has sustained me. As you know, Shenita, I have a large family. We have 6 kids together. My husband and I, we're a blended family. And so all of them are adults. And this pandemic, because they're adults, as parents, we don't have the ability to necessarily navigate their lives. So one of the things that has sustained me is that God has worked on my trust, and allowing me to trust him with my adult children. Excuse me. That's the one thing that I feel that I have gained personally. Sometimes you don't know exactly what you're holding on to, until you look back at yourself. I was holding on to my kids so tightly that they could not be released to live. And so that's one of the things that has caused me to grow as a person. So my inner growth. And the other thing is being able to connect with my purpose in a different way. Sometimes you can get so used to doing things one way, being one person, but God has broadened my horizons. He's allowed me to connect in other ways with larger communities. You know this, Shenita, because we are connected with this Project Elevate, Project Safe program, and he's expanding my territory. And it's not because I was looking for it; it was because I was available. And so I believe that this time, this pandemic has broadened my borders. It has caused me to begin to read different things, and because caused me to connect the dots. I've been able to connect the dots with my purpose during this pandemic. So these are the things that have sustained me, because I get up in the night season, and I'm feeling the Lord stirring me to read certain things that are, before the pandemic, were not necessarily my genre or those areas. But I want to know about emotional wellness. I want to know so many more things, because we have this time, and I just believe that this was a God moment and a God time for me to grow personally. And so again, as I'm dealing with my adult children, personally, I'm having to deal with my integrity, having to deal with so many things, my trust in the Lord. So these are the things that have sustained me during the pandemic.
Awesome. I can understand that one. Woo! Melanie, share with us.
Wow, I'm just gleaning from all these wonderful women. I feel
Yes.
like I'm Ruth, in the fields, just gleaning. And to your point, which you were talking about a minute ago, there was a book that has blessed me. I have teenage children and a young adult, and this book, Praying for Your Adult Children, has been something that has sustained me during this season. But to my other cousin Malika's point about the unexpected gift of time, I was going to say that God has given me, He's eliminated the drama that comes with movement, you know,
Mhm.
just being still, being at home. Shanita will tell you, I rip and run, between my day job and all of my passion pursuits that God has given me. He's allowed me to just sit with Him and to be still. Now, a lot of those hours are spent teleworking. Let's put an asterisk by that comment. But
Me too.
when you don't have to travel and the stress that comes with that, you're able to really just go up and have a quiet moment, be in the upper room and let God talk to you and tell you all about it and to tell you his plans for you. A lot of times we say, God, jump on board with my plans, but he wants us to be on part with his plan. And so his word says, commit your plans to the Lord and you will succeed. And because of that, I found new success in this COVID season. It's almost an embarrassment of riches. I'm like, oh my God, he's exalted my value. Should I,
Wow.
but I've embraced it because that's what he wants us to do, to let us know that his hand is on every one of us and he is guiding us through. His shepherd staff is leading us through this valley. And I'm just thankful for that realization during this season.
Yes. It definitely has stopped us in our tracks to appreciate. And I really loved what Paula said about letting your children go, trusting him with your adult children. Because if we say we trust him, we should trust him in all things. And that includes those adult children, those young children. And sometimes it is a challenge. I can admit to that. Sometimes it is a challenge. And so it doesn't go together when we say we trust him, but we're struggling with parts of the puzzle. And so this time has caused me to get closer to him, to draw closer to him and to people who can help hold me accountable as well. And so I just thank you all for sharing that, those practical ways that you are continuing to sustain yourself during this season of a pandemic. And so I think about the prayer group that I have. God gave me that vision last year at the end of the year to start this not prayer group but book club, and I messaged probably almost 100 women to invite them to be a part of the book club, and maybe 30 of us are part. And so I thought about why did he want me to have this book club with these women to read this book when women pray? And it was, to me, I've realized it was for this season of losing my brother. And those women have been tremendously supportive, not just them, but others as well, to help me remember that my faith will sustain me. My faith in God will sustain me during this time. So I'm just grateful um, for all the things that I've gone through and what you ladies have shared on your journey as we continue to navigate through life and continue to increase our faith in God as we purposefully live out his plan for our life. So as we continue, tell us, how has your personal relationships been affected by you concentrating on your business during the pandemic? Has your marriage been impacted? Has your relationship with co-workers, your children, has it affected your relationships in any way? Well, before we do that, Malika, are you able to hear us? Okay, so
Yes,
with
I can
that,
hear you, but you can't see me. Saying my camera's off, but my camera's on
okay,
this side.
okay, no problem. I hear you loud and clear, and that's great. So I'm not sure, did we ask you that first question about what has sustained you and your sanity during this pandemic, especially during the pandemic?
Yeah, I started talking, but it kicked me off. But pretty much in a nutshell, I don't want to be too long. Is my family, my celebration team, my friends. They kind of sustained. I guess we kind of sustained each other through the pandemic. And that's what I was saying. I just tried to change my perspective and look at it as an unexpected gift of time from God to really begin to pursue those things you may have always wanted to, or to build those relationships with families and friends that you always wanted to. So,
Awesome. Awesome. And now as we continue on, maybe you can start with this third question. How has your personal relationships been affected by concentrating, on your business or your purpose, particularly during the pandemic, Malika?
well, it depends. I would think some relationships were strained because of you know, different philosophies about the pandemic and how to overcome it and how to stay focused. So some relationships were strained, whereas other ones were stronger because you realize all you really had was God and then those friends and family. So, and then to them with the political realm that we had that come along with the pandemic that created some other challenging situations with relationships. But I will say this. From my perspective, the friendships, the celebration teams, the whatever you want to call them, it is very clear now who is who, how they are supposed to be orchestrated into your life,
Mhm.
and out of your life. Have a whole different outlook on embracing those that God says embrace and releasing those that He says release, because I know He does all things well.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, I couldn't have said that any better. Thank you for that. And let's continue. Dr. Sarah.
Okay. In terms of my personal and business relationships and how it's been affected. Oh, wow. Okay. Um, God placed on my heart to move my practice somewhat virtually around mid 2019. And it didn't make sense because I had just got stabilized and I had this beautiful suite that I loved. And I'm like, God speaking to me, telling me to give this up. I like where I'm at.
Mhm.
So I started making small changes so that about 20% of my life was virtual. And then as time went on, towards the end of 2019, the Lord spoke to me and said, you need to not have all this. You need to be virtual. So I talked to the ladies that work for me. They all love the idea of teleworking and doing teletherapy. So I relocated my office and used the space only as temporary space. So I had a smaller space that I use as needed. In end of February, first week of March, we all had to abandon the building and we no longer had use of the space. There were colleagues that also had space near me that had stayed in their lease and still had that responsibility. I did not. And I was able basically to just move everything and just keep working the way I had been working.
Mhm.
And that was a big red flag that I hadn't been listening to the word and the Holy Spirit even within my life because it's there, but I didn't trust it. Now, once we made this relocation, I have this sense of responsibility that everyone's struggling now with their mental health. I'm getting calls, I'm getting EAP providers, people that I would have never imagined seeking help. I have a contract with the military, and every family I thought that I was working with now is a crisis family, everything. So what happened was I started devoting so much time to the needs of those that were my clients because I felt like that was the right thing to do, that I neglected myself and my children, so that I would come in this office and start working, and it would be our entire day, and I may not have eaten or even left the room, just working. So that was a, a sign. Now, what made me stop working so much is I became infected with coronavirus, and I got extremely ill, and I had no choice but to rest.
Oh, no.
And from that, and that 6 weeks, that grueling period of time, God worked within me, and He was healing me and restoring me and changing me and teaching me how to rest, because I was laying down and sleeping, but I wasn't really resting. I have this connection now. My children and I are sitting around talking in the afternoons, and sometimes it's the middle of the day, and we do things together. And it has changed me. And I'm not going back to that life. I'm not going back to that life. There are higher callings for me. And I've made a disclaimer. If it doesn't bring me peace, if it doesn't bring me joy, it doesn't make me happy, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I love it.
That's my affirmative.
I love it.
Good.
Thank you. Paula, share with us.
This is a very big question for me in particular as I listen to the responses. Um, this pandemic has shown me the relationships I need to work on. So I guess it's vice versa with regards to how the pandemic has worked in my life. So even as I hear Dr. Sarah talk over there, and it's like, ooh, I need to take that. I need to take that. I've become busier, not
Yeah.
because I wanted to be, but there were needs that I found, whether it was in my faith community, on my job now that we're not in house. You think you'd have less work, but you find yourself doing more, and, with the new opportunities in my nonprofit, it's just absolutely expanding me. So with all of those large pieces of my life, being taken, with responsibility, it leaves a small slice, for the people who are in my home. And so that's one of the things that I have decided that I'm going to do this second part of the year, really take some focus in on my hubby, whom I love dearly, and my children. So it has it. I would be on. I would not be telling you the truth if I said that this pandemic, just trying to figure out how to navigate it and what's for me and what's not for me, has been a chore. And so I still find myself asking God, show me, give me clarity, tell me what to do, tell me what to drop off, tell me who to embrace. And for some of the people who were, because refresher gatherings were just that, about gathering. Now we don't gather. And so some of the relationships I had then have changed. I still love them. And so I had to deal with a lot of things that caused me to really grow. And I feel that I'm still growing, trying to figure it out, to be honest. But I know it is impacting. And so when I have honest conversations with the people I love the most, my family, and they make me aware that I may be not coming up in a particular area, I'm listening. I'm not afraid to face me. And so that's one of the greater things that have happened, is that I'm okay with saying I need to deal with that when it comes to myself and my business and my family. So, yeah.
That's good, because self-reflection is always great, because if you can handle that, I think you can handle anything, because
Right.
it's not easy for people to tell you where you need to improve, the areas you need to improve in, and the areas that maybe you're good at. As a matter of fact, one of my assignments for that master class I told you guys I was in this week was to message several people and ask them about the areas that you're good in and the areas that you need improvement in. And so I had to embrace that feedback from my folks when I text them and I ask them. And I didn't get upset. I mean, it's what they observed. And so as we continue to grow, we want to hear those things so that we can grow and people can hopefully hold us accountable so that we can be better versions of ourselves. So that's good. Thank you, Paula. Melanie.
As I say, ma'am, yes, ma'am, in the military. For me, and I didn't include this in my bio, but I'm also a veteran. I've served in the National Guard and retired a couple of years ago. But in this season, with my relationships, it's helped me to be more intentional with my relationships because you almost have to work harder to connect. We all kind of went into our little silos and, working in our pods, so to speak, at home being safe. But just making sure that you reach out and connect with those in your circle, whether it's a text or that sort of thing, just to let them know, hey, I'm thinking about you and hoping that you're okay. Also for me, with my children and my husband, just my family relationship. I've had my mother here, and I've gotten to know her better. We took her in after she had surgery this year, on the 27th of March 2020. We brought her home after her recovery back to Atlanta. I'm from Charleston, and so I've gotten to have a deeper relationship with her and to grow from her counsel, and also to learn. It's almost learning generational blessings, because you learn why you act the way you do. And you see, because as an adult, our interactions have been, okay, go home for the holidays, special occasions, a couple of days, but the day-to-day had been, not there. So now that it's allowed me to be able to see more about who I am and whose I am coming up from in that season. In my business, it's also helped me to be more strategic and to think about the decisions I'm making and why I'm going in this direction with Apparent Miracles. Reaching out to single parents, that has just been a reward. I have giver's DNA. I tell people I love to give, and
Yes,
Shenita can tell me if I'm thinking more of myself than I ought to, but I get it from her. And because the people that I surround myself with, they're givers. So we feed off of each other. And that has allowed me to be able to look beyond my need to see the needs of others with the help of other people who pour into what we do. So that has been how my relationships have grown, to just not only strengthen the ones that I know of, but to meet other parents, single parents, and people who are in need of a helping hand of a village, and to be that part of that village.
Awesome. Tamika, I'm not sure if you answered this question. I was trying to check off. But if you have not, I need you to answer this question for us.
Sure. I have not answered the question. So
Wonderful.
my relationship in this season has definitely strengthened in many ways. But I want to highlight one of them that's most important to me, and that's my relationship with my husband. Being in a relationship, you don't really realize what that means until you're in a relationship, if that makes any sense. We've been a couple for 26 years this year. We've been married for 16, and with 3 children together. And when we decided to start this business, we started the Four Corners Cleaning Solutions out of response, again, to my father. Our daughter is 18 years of age now. This is her third business venture. And with us wanting to, do something to show our continued support, my husband and I decided to get on board and continue, supporting her. And so many people looked at us like, you're an educator, you have a master's in public accounting, you worked in corporate America, you're going to go and now settle for cleaning. And so, not realizing it had nothing to do with the cleaning. The cleaning is something we know how to do that. As a mother, I can clean, right? But it was the connection that I was able to make with my daughter, but especially with my husband. At 6'2", 245 pounds, you would not imagine, this man wanting to really truly go out and clean, but he did. He did. And he did it with pride because in his world, he was with his girls. He was supporting something for his daughter, but now mom coming on board. And it was just an amazing experience. Like we laughed because he's like, oh, I didn't know it took all of this. Yes, it does. So now he appreciates what my daughter and I do around the house. But, just more importantly, being able to strengthen that relationship with him, when we're out in the field working and he's tired and we're pushing and we're encouraging him to keep going. And he's like, okay, you know what? Now it's time to go home. And who's going to cook dinner? And I'm like, we have to eat. And so just having those dynamics, within my relationship with my husband, I have fallen in love all over again. And so I'm just privileged and pleased and, thank God every day for that experience. And we're committed to keeping it going. This is a family legacy. How it turns out, I'll keep you guys posted. but,
Yes.
but for right now, he is still on the commercial cleaning side. He says he won't go into residential homes. He's like, that's a whole nother thing. But he will help us on the commercial. So I just have to say, just thank God for him and, for this experience and this time and him jumping on board to, help us during this season. And so that is definitely how our relationship has been strengthened. And then on the business note, I mean, honestly, everything that God has given me has been blessed tenfold. Literally, we have lacked for nothing. We have wanted for nothing. Our desires have been fulfilled. I have a new grandbaby. He is the love of my life. It's just a beautiful thing. So I just thank God, that, I have been able to find my strengths, find my talents, but be able to use them with my husband. And not many people can say that. And so I don't take that for granted.
Yes. Because so many marriages didn't make it through the pandemic. So for you to make it and to be strengthened, that's a beautiful, beautiful picture.
Yes.
So kudos to Team Adams.
Yes, kudos to Team Adams. I received that.
Yes. So as we, draw close to the 8 o'clock hour, I would like for you ladies to share a piece of advice with someone who is maybe struggling to embrace their faith walk, or haven't even begun to walk out with faith, walk this journey with faith. What advice would you give them? Starting with Paula, what advice would you give someone who is struggling on that journey?
I would say to them that where you are, God knows. And because He sees you, it's an honor and a privilege to get to know Him. I would say to them that my faith has been a sustainer. It's been a healing for my life. I would share with them that the God who made this world loves them absolutely and absolutely wants to be involved with them and to help them. That's what I would say to them, that He's not distant. He's not a God who's trying to hide Himself, but that He wants to be intimately involved with them. That's what I would say.
Awesome. It's a beautiful relationship.
Yes.
And that relationship, that ship is going somewhere.
Yes.
So, yes. So, next, Malika, what would you say to someone who's struggling to walk out their life with faith? Dr. Sarah, what would that conversation look like? That advice, that if you had to give it to someone?
Unfortunately, I see it a lot. And in my practice, I am one that I'm a professional within integration. So I'm a psychotherapist that intertwines the Christian philosophy with psychology. And I have clients that have experienced trauma and they want to believe, they want to pray, but they say, where was God when this happened to me? How can I have faith when all this has happened to me? And I kind of give the analogy of it's like the story is backwards. For instance, for us, we see things as we live through life, like from the beginning to the end. That's how we see it. But God created us, and he is basically manifested us in a way that God sees us from the end. He knows what our ending is. He knew every challenge we were going to have. He knew our weaknesses, our pitfalls, and yes, there's ugliness in the world, but he also knows the ending and the beauty of that and the increase of faith that we're going to have and how we're going to overcome this. And so I kind of, it's like encapsulated in hope that if someone doesn't have faith, we first start with, let's come up with something small, a small thing. You woke up this morning. Hey, a lot of people didn't. You're able to sit here and talk and have these emotions and feelings and give attention to it. That's God showing up in you right now. Right? B. And C, you got the best therapist in the whole wide world working with you.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Melanie, we have, 1 minute. Would you share some advice to someone who has not yet embraced this journey of faith?
But in business, we have the elevator pitch, right? We have
Mhm.
only so much time before maybe they're listening and something else is trying to distract them. I'm prayerful first before I say whatever, just so I can reach it from God's ears and minds and heart to their heart. But what I would say to them is try it. Like, how have the other alternatives worked out for you? And it's not to say God is waiting for you to fail and then to come to him, but just to say he wants to be in a relationship with you, not to make it anything that's too lofty of a goal, just like my sister, Dr. Sarah was saying, but it's just, he just wants to meet you wherever you are.
Yeah.
He is no further than the nose on your face. He's leaning in, waiting to listen, and just talk to him, just like you're talking to me. And hopefully that will get them to think about the relational aspect of it, and that will draw them closer to a relationship with their father.
Yes. Awesome. Malika?
Real quick, I've always found to be consistent when I'm trying to encourage someone to take a faith walk that they are most concerned about is that they have to change, like completely just have everything in order and change everything. And then the other piece is that you can't have fun if you're a Christian. And so I encourage them and tell them that you will end up having more fun once you give your life to Christ, because he opens up doors for you. And every dream, even every private desire that you've never maybe even verbally spoken, he'll bring it to pass. And so just encourage them. Last, you have to be a good example too in that, in our walk, so that they can see him and then have a desire. Because I feel like if we create some type of a curious urge in them, they'll be drawn to it. And if we just encourage them that you can still be a Christian and have fun, and you don't have to change everything, God will change it for you. And in that change comes gladness.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Miss Adams.
I have, you said it, Shenita, and it was so amazing when I heard you say it. Keep moving. Keep
Mhm.
moving.
Mhm.
I had to encourage myself just last week, honestly, to say, keep moving.
Yes.
Don't stop. If
Yes.
he gave you the gift, he gave you the idea because it wasn't yours, right? It was recognizing none of this is us,
Mhm.
right? This is all him. So we have to keep moving. And those three words, I promise you, have literally changed my life in a matter of just believing that and receiving it. So that would be my advice. Is just to keep moving.
Keep it moving. This has been an amazing show with you women of faith. And I know, just like I said earlier, and I'm sure each of you realize that without our faith, we could not be where we are. And I just thank God that I do have that foundation because, as Melanie said earlier, my mother instilled that foundation that has outlived her, and the legacy that she's gifted me with still continues. As Dr. Sarah said, when we want to lose our mind, or things are not going well, or the loss of your husband, the loss of your sibling, the loss of a job, the loss of a home, the loss of a car, how do you continue moving forward? As you say, keep moving in faith and know that it is well, and having that support, as Malika said, having the support around you is essential. That celebration team, I love that, because if we could get into a place of celebrating each other and helping each other through the good times and the bad times, that's a beautiful picture. Can you imagine what that looks like? you know and so I am just so grateful that we've had this opportunity together this evening to share your faith walk, your perspective, your businesses. If you guys would, and we only have, like, I don't know if we can even do it in 30 seconds each, but I want you guys in 30 seconds share snippets of anything about your business that you'd like to highlight. We've shared the banners, but I want you to share 30 seconds elevator pitch. 30 seconds. Malika.
Excuse me, please, etiquette. Learn etiquette and proper social skills so they can soar. So visit me at Excuse Me Please Etiquette. That is on Facebook and Instagram. And email me at youretiquettecoach@gmail.com.
I love it. Dr. Sarah.
And Dr. Sarah Williams, the owner and founder of Covenant Way Clinical Counseling and Covenant Way Wellness, where at our practice, we offer you a covenant of hope. We are one of the few practices in the region that combines a holistic approach. You can actually have virtual yoga, virtual mindfulness, hypnotherapy combined with clinical psychotherapy. You can reach me, Dr. Sarah Williams, at drsarah.w on Instagram, or on my email at drsarah@drsarahw.org.
Paula.
Hi, I'm Paula Myrick, and Refresher Community is a safe place for you to breathe, to take a moment to figure out which direction you should go in. We are navigational coaches that seek to be a community that is safe and resourceful for you. You can find us on Facebook at Refresher Community Gatherings, and you can find us also on the web at refreshercommunity.org. God bless you and thank you, and look forward to seeing you.
Tamika.
I'm Tamika Adams, again, the founder of the Empress and Pearls, where we take young Black girls because we know that they will be young Black women and they will be the leaders of the world. We train girls in the areas of financial literacy, social and emotional learning, college and career preparation, and social innovation. We welcome you to follow the journey, the movement. We are located here in Atlanta, Georgia. You can reach us on Facebook. Also, you can reach us at our website, The Empress and Pearls, Inc. And I would be happy to connect with you.
Thank you. Last but certainly not least, Miss Melanie Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Shenita. I am Melanie Williams. It's been an honor to be here, founder of Apparent Miracles, where we help single working custodial parents one miracle at a time. We do these with small miracle moments meeting a need that's relevant in a way that's uplifting and enlightening to the mother or the father. We're having also an opportunity called Beauty and the Beach, another experience I found for women of all backgrounds. And we're doing a great getaway in November at the Diplomat Hotel in Miami. So come join us. It's our fundraiser for Parent Miracles, where we give back the proceeds to our working parents. You can find us on Instagram at Apparent Miracles, as well as you can email us at info@apparentmiracles.org.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for all that you do each and every day to make this world a better place for others. And I'm honored that you said yes. And we will talk, or we will see each other at the top. How about that? Thank you again for watching this episode of Life with Shenita. Please tune in each Thursday, Eastern Standard Time. You can also catch us on famradiostation.com on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Thank you again, and you guys have an amazing night.
Thank you.
Good
You're
night.
welcome.
Good night.
Thank you.